Please join me in welcoming the President and CEO of the Community Foundation, Will Ginsberg.
Thank you all for being here. There's a great feeling in this room, I think, this morning, a feeling of excitement, a feeling of anticipation, a feeling of all being together, and a feeling of being challenged to think differently. I thank you all for contributing to that feeling. And I thank you, Kalila, Professor Brown-Dean, for all you do as chair of the Community Foundation and for your inspiring opening remarks. Thank you, Kalila. You've set just the right tone for a day of discussions about how we as a community can create a future of opportunity for the people of Greater New Haven. Thank you so much to Aaron Jafaris and to his colleagues, Taj Galberth and Paul Bryant Hudson, who have gotten us off to such a provocative and important and challenging start this morning, and brilliant, I would say. Wow, I would say to Aaron and Taj and Paul. You've captured what these issues mean to people. You've captured how these issues feel to people. And you've captured the historical roots of the issues that we're talking about today. And you've captured the heart of the challenges that we're talking about. The challenge of moving beyond social support to the dignity and the independence of work. And the challenge of moving beyond opening doors in the mainstream economy to creating a new economy that's built by the people and in the neighborhoods of our community. So again, Aaron and Taj and Paul, thank you for that. There are so many others who deserve thanks today, so many whose ideas and efforts and work have gone into this, into conceiving this convening and making it happen. I can't begin to cite them all, so at the risk of doing an injustice here right at the outset, I will mention only a few. Thank you first to our distinguished guests from out of town who you will hear from as the day goes on. Our keynote, Tawana Black. Tawana, thank you for being here. Tawana is founder and CEO of the Center for Economic Inclusion in Minnesota. And to Christopher Gergen, who is, I didn't see, there's Christopher. Thank you, Christopher, for being here. Christopher is co-founder and CEO of Forward Cities in North Carolina, and we will hear their perspectives as national leaders in the movement for inclusive growth and equitable economic growth today. Thank you also to all our other presenters. Their names are on the program. Their backgrounds are described on our convening app, Whova. I'm told that's the correct pronunciation. And you know them because these are the people who do this work in our community every day, and they carry so much wisdom from their work here locally. So we have much to learn from them, from what they will share with us today. And thank you to so many others in the community, many of whom are in this room, many of whom are not, who have contributed their thoughts and their ideas and their experiences and their criticisms over the last year and a half as the Foundation's ideas about inclusive growth have evolved, and they are continuing to evolve, and today's an important step in that. Thank you to my colleague Christina Ciociola, Senior Vice President at the Foundation and Captain of our in-house Inclusive Growth team, and to the many Foundation staff who are contributing so much to our thinking on these issues and who have contributed so much to bringing our thoughts to life in this convening today. And finally, and certainly not least, thank you to the Foundation Board, to our chair, as I said, Kalila Brown-Dean, who you just heard from, to our vice chair, Nick Norcott, who you will hear from, to our entire board, including Carlton Highsmith, who's here, and Maisa Akbar is here. Our board's willingness to consider anew what it will take and what it means to build a brighter future for this community and to rethink the role of the Foundation in that is what brings us to this moment, to this convening, to this idea of building a future of opportunity in Greater New Haven. So, in case you didn't pick this up in our opening spoken word piece by Aaron and Taj and Paul, I do want to acknowledge right at the outset my hope that today's convening will be a different kind of conversation than the ones we are used to having here in New Haven. Today is not about economic development or social progress as we usually talk about these issues. Today's convening is certainly about those things, but today we're talking about a broader theme, about opportunity, and about how we as a community need to come together in new ways to create greater opportunity in the future for more of our residents. So my hopes for today are not modest ones. First, I hope that today is full of valuable learning for all of us. We do have a great lineup of presenters. We have much data to share. So we'll go deep into the numbers and into the lived experience of people who are doing the work of opportunity. And our program is also designed so that you all can hear from one another as well. Yet I hope that today's convening proves valuable even beyond the words and numbers. I hope that it begins to change how we as a community think about our future. I hope that today's convening shines a bright light on all the assets we have in this community to create opportunity for the many. Economic assets, neighborhood assets, intellectual assets, and less tangible assets of commitment, of entrepreneurial energy, and of vision. And I hope that today's convening also illuminates the challenges we face. The data you will see today paints a pretty stark picture of declining social mobility in our community, a picture of slow growth, of widening income disparities by town and race and gender and ethnicity, of a growing percentage of our young people living in low-income households, of an economy that is shifting towards lower-wage service jobs, and of disparities in educational achievement. These are not new challenges, but I hope that today's discussion pushes us beyond the usual thinking about solutions, beyond our thinking about public policy and public spending, and even beyond philanthropy as the solution. Not that all those aren't important, because of course they are, but I hope that today we emerge with new thinking about the need for growth and the need for inclusion, and about how we can grow in ways that ameliorate rather than exacerbate our challenges, grow in ways that create opportunity for all in our community. I hope that as part of that new thinking, today's convening also starts us down the road of envisioning new ways of doing the community's business, new ways that the business sector and the public sector and the institutional sector and the social sector can work together toward shared goals in a much more deliberate, purposeful, and concerted fashion. In a community like ours, creating opportunity for all starts with understanding the diversity of perspectives that make up Greater New Haven. So I also hope that today's discussions are illuminating in that regard as well. We'll explore what lofty goals like opportunity and inclusion mean to those who have long felt socially and economically marginalized in our community. The story of Greater New Haven is a story of opportunity realized and of opportunity denied. Our history is rooted in people risking all for the opportunity to worship as they choose, and our modern history is all about people, including many of us and our ancestors, coming here for the opportunity for decent work, for education, for the opportunity to build a successful life. There is much to be proud of in that history. Yet the story of Greater New Haven is also one of deep and persistent inequities in access to opportunity. We need to hear those stories too. The reality of opportunity denied is seen today in the disparities with which we are all so painfully familiar. Racial, ethnic, and gender disparities in health outcomes, in educational achievement, in wealth and income, among others. We need to address ourselves forthrightly to that history and to that reality if we are to move forward as a united community. For all this talk of past and present, today's convening is really about the next generation. What kind of community will our children and grandchildren inherit? Will they experience Greater New Haven as a place of opportunity and believe that it can be so for them? Will they feel proud and lucky to have been born and raised here? Or will many with the wherewithal to do so leave in order to put their talents to work elsewhere, while those who stay feel trapped here in a place of limited horizons? Answers to these kind of questions can only come from hearing and heeding the voice of our youth. And you'll get a taste of that today from the Newhallville Youth Photo Voice Project, which you can learn about in our breakout session on the Dixwell-Newhallville neighborhood. Data Haven's recently completed Community Index, which goes public today at this convening, also hints at the answers to these questions. And the hints are very sobering. In Greater New Haven today, only slightly more than half of adults questioned think it's certain or very likely that young people in our community will get a job with opportunities for advancement. Only slightly more than half of adults think that way in the entire region. In New Haven today, barely 2 in 5 adults have that confidence. To me, these numbers stand out among in all the data we're looking at. These numbers stand out because they describe a community that has lost confidence in its ability to do right by its next generation. Surely these numbers point to the need for all of us to envision and build a different future. At the Community Foundation, this challenge is what's driving our thinking. We're working this year on a new strategic plan for 2020 to 24 that will be oriented around how our work can help to create more opportunity for more of our residents. So allow me to share some of what we envision. We envision a community whose young people are educated to develop the habits of mind and the skills to fully participate in the economy of tomorrow. That means an educational system that is preparing our students for college and a community that is supporting them to attend college and succeed there. And it also means education and training systems that create pathways to real opportunity for those not attending college. We envision a community that truly understands how we build an economy for the next generation that is equal to our aspirations. That means understanding our strengths and our assets and uniting in support of those sectors with the greatest potential for growth. It means supporting the growth of our eds and meds so they can continue to drive employment here and continue to attract people with the ideas that bring investment and attention and acclaim to our community. It also means supporting those who put ideas into action that'll create new jobs in growing companies, the entrepreneurs. You'll hear much today about how we can build an entrepreneurial community here in Greater New Haven. We envision a community that understands its strength and assets well beyond the economic. This community is sustained today by its cultural life and by the pride and sense of town and neighborhood identity that people feel here. These are among the things that strengthen our connections to one another, connections that we need to understand and cultivate because they're at the heart of how we can progress together as one united community. We envision a community of understanding and empathy, where all can feel that they are respected and accepted, treated with dignity, listened to, and provided equitable opportunities to build successful lives. That's what we mean when we speak of inclusion. And we envision a community whose growth strategies are inextricably linked to our commitment to inclusion, because growth and inclusion are understood to be interdependent and mutually reinforcing. We envision that tackling growth and inclusion as one interconnected challenge could take us down a new path, a path leading to a sense of common destiny that currently eludes us, a sense that we can transcend long-standing divisions. That's why our vision of a future of opportunity has to include closing the achievement gap. It's why we need to build an entrepreneurial ecosystem that is not only vibrant and dynamic, but also truly inclusive of minority and women business people. It's why local hiring is so important. It's why the issue of housing affordability is more and more at the center of the opportunity challenge, both the age-old challenge of suburban exclusion and the new dynamics of urban displacement that have come to our central city. This is surely a big and far-reaching vision for progress in our community. It is, as I said before, at the heart of the Foundation's emerging plan for the next 5 years. But we know that it is far beyond the capacity of the Foundation to carry it out. To be realized, this vision will need to be broadly embraced over the long term. The Foundation intends to push, we intend to lead, but we don't see ourselves as the leader. We see ourselves as a listener, a collaborator, and a supporter, too. So in that spirit, we invite you to join us in our learning, to contribute your ideas, and also to step forward and to step out ahead. Our community will need leadership from every corner and at every level if we are to create a future of opportunity for the people of Greater New Haven.